Welcome back, members, to Laspa Underground News. This is Jordan bringing you episode 3. Let me start my stopwatch because I promised to keep this under a certain time, so I get a little carried away. I apologize. You know, it occurred to me how some people probably just utterly hate whenever I spread the word about what's going on in the union. I wish I could be a fly on the wall to hear some of the things that are said about me when these episodes come out, but hey, I'm here to please. What can I say? So, episode 3, this is kind of a continuation of episode 2. So, episode 2, really quickly, I talked about where I think we are financially, how it's being completely mismanaged, and also the insane idea of the union president wanting to increase our already high union dues. So myself and another member, Tim, we went on our own time, finally, after years and years and years of trying to look at some financial documents from the union, and only because of the pressure communicated by you guys, the members, to the union president, the vice president, and everybody else, we were finally allowed to see something. In essence, without going into like painful detail, what we were shown was a snippet of what we really wanted to see. I wanted to see bank statements, credit card statements. I wanted to see bills from, everything that we're paying out to. I wanted to see everything, because when you're dealing with financials, if you don't have all the facts in front of you, it makes sense, but you can't confirm what you're seeing, okay? And it makes the job way harder than it needs to be. So, we were given a letter that was prepared by the union attorney, quote unquote union attorney, and it was from 2016, and it basically said, look, they're allowed to see everything, just no copies. Okay, that's his made up rule, but whatever. So we weren't allowed to make copies of anything that we had to look at. So basically what we saw were some end of year reports that give you very broad strokes of what was spent. Okay. Now, right off the get-go, I found an anomaly. Myself and Tim spotted an anomaly in the numbers, which it can't be a mistake. So there's something going on. I don't know what it is. They weren't able to explain it. But basically for 2018, it indicated that we basically took in $100,000 more in union dues than what's mathematically possible, given the number of members that we have. So basically it said that we took in $625,000 rounded up, when mathematically, we should only really be able to do at best 530,000. So when I see an error like that on something that is prepared by a quote unquote accountant, there's problems. Okay. So I'm taking everything that's in these reports with a grain of salt. I want to thank Tim for doing an excellent job in taking some of the best notes I've ever seen before. That really allowed me to try to have a conversation with Gil and Brent about what's going on financially. So huge shout out to him. If you want a copy of what he's got, just reach out to him and he'll hook you up. So from the get-go, what we saw had some issues. There were some discrepancies that were not easily explained. Without the supporting documentation, in all honesty, what we saw was meaningless. So it is what it is. Now, I'm going to give you some numbers that are going to blow your mind. So financially, we're broke as a union. But These guys still managed to spend in 2018 $50,000 on conventions and conferences. In 2017, they spent $57,000 in conventions and conferences. In 2017, $32,000 in donations/contributions. Let's see here. Political donations in 2018, $33,000. Let's see here. Public relations. And I asked what this was, and I didn't get a straight answer about it. In 2016, we spent $41,000 in public relations. I have no idea what that is, or I can't remember anything that we did in 2016 that would warrant spending $41,000, unless they use union dues to run against me and Miguel Ben in 2016. I don't know, whatever. Social activities, $22,000 in 2018, $18,000 in 2017. Telephone and internet in 2018, $28,000. Christmas expenses, so that's the Christmas party. In 2016, they basically we paid for a wedding, $33,000. Let's see here. Cell phone equipment in 2016, $18,000. In 2017, $11,000. Look, I'm throwing out these numbers just to paint a picture of the spending, okay? Now, I know for a fact that there are other unions out there that are way more effective and operate on a fraction of the budget that we have, and they make it work. Basically, what I'm seeing here is just straight up wasteful spending, okay? After looking at these numbers, I'm confident that I could come in and run this union minus our legal coverage, just running the union as an entity and being financially responsible. I think I could run it for $75,000 to $100,000 a year. So when I say I can run the union for $75,000, $100,000, in contrast to what's currently being spent to keep the lights on in the union, roughly $325,000 to $500,000, depending on what year we're comparing it to. It's insane how much money is being spent by the union. We have to make a decision of whether or not our union is here to protect our jobs and to make sure that we have a future where we currently are, or we're going to be a social club. I much rather not spend $10,000, $15,000 on a Baker to Vegas party and use that money to get you a $10,000 to $15,000 raise so you can throw your own Baker to Vegas party with all the extra money you're making. So we have to decide what this union is really about and what we're going to utilize our resources for. I don't really, given our current situation, being in last place in comparison to everybody else, our dollars should not be spent on social activities. Every single penny should be spent on increasing wages, making working conditions better, enforcing our contract. That's what that money is supposed to be going for. Not, $33,000 Christmas parties. Because if that's what your priority is and how the union spends its money, then we might as well not even have a union, because you don't need a union to do that. That's not what a union's for. The membership has allowed all these lavish activities such as traveling, going out of state to conferences, throwing these parties, and completely ignoring the fact that the union's not doing their job and not using the money to represent us and protect our jobs. and protect individual members, because you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that's actually satisfied with what they're getting from the current union leadership. So when I say I can run the union for $75,000, that means I'm going to be putting $225,000, $250,000 into our savings account every year. So we have to make a decision as members of what is the priority of the union, what is its purpose, and how are we going to right the ship? So I'm done harping on the social activities. There was plenty of other spending that we saw that, in my opinion, were unneeded and wasteful. Attorneys, consultants. I mean, there were some things that when I asked, what was this about, there was not a satisfactory answer given to me about why we spent that amount of money or why we continue to spend a large amount of money every month for somebody's services where I'm not seeing it benefit the membership. So, across the board, there are issues with what the union is spending its money on. So the whole system needs to be thoroughly evaluated, and line by line, check by check, bank statement by bank statement, the membership has to sit down and say, look, do we need this? Does this benefit us? Is there anything tangible that we can point to say, hey, it justified us spending $40,000 on this or $36,000 on that? That is the conversation that the membership as a whole needs to have, not a few select people that have really skated through their union career catering to management while traveling the country and the world on our dime. Those days are over. There's a lot of spending going on that honestly just doesn't need to happen. And the fact that we have nothing in our savings account for any kind of legal action that the union may have to take, or any kind of social representation of the union, whether it's PR and whatnot, we have no money for that. And based off of what I'm seeing and what they're spending, we never will be able to build up that account. I received no assurances of or explanation of what the extra union due hike is going to do. Meaning, okay, we give you this extra money, where's it going to go and how's it going to be spent? Basically, they're just asking for more money and they have no plan or no assurances of what it's going to be used for other than to keep this madness afloat. So, look, at the end of the day, it's our money. As the membership, we have the ultimate rule over how this organization is ran. Not the president, not the vice president, not the second vice president, not the secretary, the treasurer, sergeant. No, the membership run the show. You should check your bylaws, okay? We are the ones that vote on bylaws. We are the ones that vote on what they do and what they shouldn't do. And basically, the union has turned into some crazy social club, throwing parties and all this nonsense. And we're in a situation now where we've overspent and now we don't have anything for what our organization is meant to be. So look, you guys are going to have to make a decision of what we're going to do here. I do not endorse any kind of union due hike without a complete restructure of the spending. Okay. I personally think that the people that have been in office, that are currently in office, that allowed us to get to this point, they shouldn't even be in those positions because they've failed us. They've dropped the ball and they've done nothing to correct it. I was given no plan of, when I asked the question, what are you guys going to do to fix this? And I got no answer because they don't know how to fix it. In all reality, in talking to them, in their mind, it almost seems like they're not doing anything wrong. So, hey, let's just go over the facts. We're one of the lowest paid agencies in LA County. Yet, if we go along with Gil's plan to raise the union dues, we're going to be at the top 10% of what other unions pay for union dues. That makes no sense. They are living high on the hog, going to conferences, throwing parties, being big shots, and basically put us in financial ruin. And now they're asking for more money. They are literally an exact copy of how the state of California is ran. They want to increase our taxes with no assurances and no plan of really how the money is going to be spent, or not transparent in how that money is being spent. So, with that being said, let me see where I'm at time-wise. I already went over. See? Look, I think there should be a forensic audit, a financial forensic audit of the books, because I'm seeing inconsistencies with the numbers. I think there should be a panel of members that are giving all the financial documentation of the union, and those members should be in charge of dealing with the forensic accountant and figuring out exactly what's going on with the money. That's number one. Number two, I do not endorse any hike of our union dues until, one, we figure out what the money is being spent on, and two, a plan is put in to reduce the wasteful spending. So that's all I have for you guys on this episode. I hope it was informative for you guys. Again, I appreciate your support. I appreciate everybody that reached out to the Union E-Board, expressing their concerns or their support of what I'm doing and what Tim is doing, just trying to get information. So I'll see you guys on the next one.